All right. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. How are you in relation to this? Okay. Congratulations. So we'll get started about 3:10. About 5 minutes. Online? Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we give them a chance to. I know you guys got here nice and early, but just want to make sure we got the full audience that we. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
No.
Check 1 2 1 2.
I'll introduce all of you. Take questions and some questions for Bank.
Check 1 2.
And then after we're done, we'll wrap up.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Really get going. You make me feel better. And then she moves the French lesson up to and then after that, we'll have some people on Zoom questions from there. We'll do some speaking. Or any approaches. Yeah. And then afterwards, we'll just come back down. Thanks, buddy. Right. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Let's see. So run through. We'll have you guys sit. I'll start off. Then what we'll do is once we go to the introduction, we'll have some questions. Questions in French in the room. Yeah. And then what we do, we have questions that are going to be submitted. I'd say in a few minutes, we'll start. We'll try to start on time. People that are coming. Yeah.
Check, check. Nope.
You want me to check it? Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Sounds good. Yeah.
One more time, Chris.
Oh, yeah, sure. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. One more time. Is that what you said? Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Sip up line.
It's actually a good experience for you. Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Bienvenue à Saginaw pour la présentation du tournoi de la Coupe Memorial 2024 présenté par Dow. Welcome to Saginaw for the presentation of the 2024 Memorial Cup presented by Dow. I'm Christopher Seguin, the Media Relations Manager for the Canadian Hockey League, and I'll be your MC today for the Meet the Coaches press conference, along with all post-game press conferences. Je m'appelle Christopher Seguin, je suis le gestionnaire des relations médias pour la Ligue canadienne de hockey, et je serai votre maître de cérémonie pour la conférence de presse des entraîneurs aujourd'hui, mais également toutes les conférences de presse d'après-match. This afternoon, I have the pleasure of standing here alongside all 4 coaches of our participating teams at this year's 104th Memorial Cup. J'ai le grand plaisir de me tenir ici aux côtés des 4 entraîneurs-chefs de nos équipes participantes de la 104e Coupe Memorial de cette année. First, sitting to my left is the head coach of this year's host club, the Saginaw Spirit, Chris Lazary. Having served the Saginaw's head coach since 2018, Chris has led the Spirit to 2 OHL Western Conference Finals appearances in 5 seasons, the most recent of which came this year. Earlier this season, Chris also became the winningest coach in Spirit history. His current win record stands at 185 after leading the team to its most successful regular season with a franchise record 50 wins and 102 points in 2023-24. Next, sitting to Chris is Mark O'Leary of the Moose Jaw Warriors, who is on the heels of coaching his team to a historic WHL championship, the first one in the franchise's 40-year history in Moose Jaw. Mark is in the midst of his 4th season as the head coach of the Warriors after taking the helm midway through the 2019-20 campaign. Since taking over as the team's bench boss in 280 games, Mark has won over 150 contests and ranks 2nd on the Moose Jaw Warriors all-time wins list. À la gauche de Marc se trouve Sylvain Favreau, l'entraîneur-chef des Voltigeurs de Drummondville. Sa formation vient de remporter leur 2e trophée Gilles Courteau de l'histoire de la franchise après une attente de 15 ans pour les partisans des Voltigeurs. Sylvain aura passé 7 saisons dans la Ligue Hockey Junior Maritime Québec au début comme assistant et lors de ses 3 dernières campagnes comme entraîneur-chef. Dans ce qui fut sa première saison avec les Voltigeurs, Sylvain a mené Drummondville une fiche de 48, 14, 5 et 1 pour un total de 102 points, le 4e total de points le plus élevé de l'histoire de la franchise. To the left of Mark is Sylvain Favreau, the head coach of the QMJHL champions, the Drummondville Voltigeurs. With Favreau behind the bench, Drummondville won its 2nd Gilles Couture trophy in franchise history and its 1st in 15 years. Sylvain has spent 7 seasons in the QMJHL, initially as an assistant, and for the last 3 seasons as a head coach. In what was his first year with the Voltigeurs, Sylvain led Drummondville to a 48-14, 5-1 record for a total of 102 points, the 4th highest point total in franchise history. And last but not least, sitting next to Sylvain is the president and head coach of this year's OHL champions, Dale Hunter of the London Knights. Having coached the Knights since 2001, Dale has helped lead his team to 4 J. Ross Robertson Cups and 2 Memorial Cup titles, the most recent of which came in 2016. This past season, Dale moved into 2nd place on the CHL's all-time coaching wins list with over 950 victories in the OHL to his name. Dale also coached the Knights to a first-place finish in the OHL standings during the 23-24 campaign, which earned the club its 7th Hamilton Spectator Trophy as the OHL regular season champions. The coaches are now ready for your questions. I'm asking you to limit yourself to just one question and 1 follow-up to begin, and if we have time, I'll make sure we come back to you at the end. It's worth noting that the coaches will be available after every practice for future purposes. If you're watching the presser through Zoom, please just raise your hand on the call, and we'll come to you after we've taken questions from inside the room first. Je vous demande de vous limiter à une question et à une question de relance pour débuter. On pourra ensuite revenir à la fin s'il nous reste temps. Les entraîneurs sont disponibles après les entraîneurs pour du contenu plus détaillé. Si vous êtes en ligne sur Zoom, veuillez simplement lever la main dans le Zoom et nous viendrons vers vous après qu'on a pris des questions dans la salle. First, we will start with questions in English from attendees in the room before taking questions in French. Sam.
Question for Chris. Your team has done a great job of the just another game mentality, but as the stage gets bigger and bigger, how have you been able to maintain that mindset now that we've reached the Memorial?
Yeah, well, like it is just another game at the end of the day. We have a process and a way we're trying to play and an evaluation of how we want to play and little things we want to do. So as long as we're hitting those things, to us, that's our focus. You can't look at the stage you're on, or obviously we're playing 3 championship caliber teams. Like you just got to look at how you want to play, the things you want to do, and are you doing those? And if you are, is that going to lead you to success at the end? So that's kind of our focus here.
Next question.
It's actually for all 4 coaches. You guys all have ties to Ontario. And I'm just wondering, what are your earliest memories of the CHL and the Ontario Hockey League growing up through your hockey careers? Start with Chris and then work our way down the line.
Yeah, I grew up in Oshawa, so I was an Oshawa General fan, and I was lucky enough to watch Eric Lindros and Jason Arnott and that group go through. So for me, I think that's probably my fondest memory as a kid.
Yeah, for me, growing up in Owen Sound, being around the OHL quite a bit. My dad coached basically my whole life with the players and the attack. So just being around that atmosphere and getting a chance to play myself. Memories of losing to the London Knights a couple times, but hopefully we can change that.
I think for myself, growing up in Ottawa, I had the luxury of having the Hull Olympics on one side of the river and the Ottawa 67s on the other. I guess the Brian Kilray legacy is something that is certainly stands out for me, and certainly guys in my age group winning the Memorial Cup, I believe, was in '97. So great memories of watching both hockey clubs on each side of the river.
Mine was many moons ago, but I was a player. I played in this league, and it's a great league, and I never got a chance to play. We didn't make it to the Memorial Cup, and I always wanted to as a player, but I did it as a coach, and it's very rewarding to play in this tournament. It's quite a tournament.
Yeah. My question for Sylvain, you have real complete formation. We talked about it a lot during the regular season. How do you feel approaching the tournament about how your players react coming in the first practice, how Riley's feeling after a great performance during those playoffs? How do you see the group in this ensemble?
Yeah, I think for us, we took the opportunity. Obviously, I think it's important to celebrate wins. We took the opportunity to celebrate the Gilles Courteau Trophy for a couple of days, and then we sort of closed the books on that and really switched our focus to the Memorial Cup. As far as players are concerned, I think the mindset and the focus is there. We had a great week of practice. I felt that our group was dynamic on the ice in practice and focused. And Riley's been progressing all season. You look at his performances. Even after the trade deadline, when everything's said and done, and he's been progressing well. And I've said it before: anytime you have a great person that works really hard, it's a great recipe for success. So we're pretty happy with the way that he's been playing.
My question is for Mark. Mark, how have you seen your veterans lead and mature over the course of the playoff run, especially as they kind of bring along some of the younger guys?
Well, I think it's just their relentlessness with their mindset. We've talked all playoffs long about things not going according to plan and what your response is, and I think they lead by example there. Whether it's small things, tough call, bad ice, bad bounce, whatever. They're just really good at resetting, refocusing, and getting back to doing what we do. And that starts from the top, and they're pretty good at that.
Yeah. So maintenant, j'aimerais inviter les médias présents. Oh, tu as une question en anglais en premier? Oui, vas-y.
Maybe for Dave.
Ouais, Dylan, if you don't mind. Merci, Steph.
Maybe for Dale first. You've been at this tournament a lot of times. Where would you qualify your edition this year if you compare to the other ones that were so great for the Knights that won in 05 and 16? I know it's tough to do, but you came here. I don't know if you have the tag of the favorite team because you were like so great this year, but how would you place your team this year?
No, it's they gelled as a team. We didn't start the year very, very well, and as the season progressed, we got better. And every team that I've had come here, it's you have to be peaking at the right time, and that's the key to it. And like us, all 4 teams here, they're that's why they're here. They're peaking at the right time, and they're good teams, and it's going to be it's going to be a battle that way, just like every time I've been here. It's all tough games, overtime games, so you got to be ready for it.
Question, Steph? Je vais attendre. Guillaume?
My question's for Chris. Chris, you used 2 goaltenders during those playoffs. Do you feel that that timing between the end of your playoff run and the beginning of the tournament will have given you the time to maybe evaluate what you're going to do with your use of the goaltenders?
Well, what do you think we should do? That's I've been asking everyone that. Yeah, I've been asking everyone that question. Like, to be honest with you, we haven't decided on who's going to start. Obviously, Nolan coming in when Oki got hurt was phenomenal. He's an NHL signed goalie. Gave us a chance to win every night in the playoffs and did a hell of a job. Now, Oki comes back in at the time of his injuries, some of the best numbers in the league in the playoff at the time, and it's a tough decision. Everyone keeps saying they feel bad for you, but I'd love that decision all day. It means you have a deep group. So, we have an ongoing discussion internally amongst the team, staff, and a million people. Every time I pass somebody in the community, they're asking who's starting game 1. So we'll find out tomorrow when we submit our roster.
Maintenant, j'aimerais inviter les médias présents à poser leurs questions en français.
Sylvain, tu vois ta situation, tu arrives ici, vous avez tous eu à peu près le même nombre de jours de congé. L'équipe haute aussi. Est-ce que tu vois, toi, dans ce tournoi-là, une équipe favorite, une équipe, puis je veux savoir aussi ton calendrier. Tu joues 2 matchs en 2 jours en partant comme ça, samedi, dimanche, tu joues contre London en partant. Comment tu vois ça?
Ben, à partir du moment qu'on est à la Coupe Memorial, je pense qu'on fait face à 4 grosses écuries, 4 grosses équipes de hockey. Puis on est tous ici pour une raison. Et puis pour moi, ce ne sera pas moi qui va jouer la personne qui va dicter qui est le favori, mais on sait qu'on a 4 grosses équipes de hockey. Ça va être un tournoi difficile, je pense qu'il dit. C'est un des tournois les plus difficiles, un des trophées au hockey les plus difficiles à gagner. Alors pour moi, on approche ça de la même manière qu'on a approché ça en saison régulière, qu'en séries éliminatoires. Après ça, le calendrier, si on ne fait pas trop attention, on sait qu'il faut jouer un match après l'autre, puis on va être prêt.
Sylvain, on en parlera en anglais, je vais revenir en français là-dessus, mais comment tu vois justement la profondeur de ta formation aussi, comme je disais tout à l'heure, les performances de Riley, puis comment l'équipe s'ajuste présentement, puis avec la préparation, c'est quand même très gros comme environnement. Comment ton feeling en ce moment, puis comment c'est le feeling de ta formation?
Je pense qu'il y a un bon feeling dans le groupe. Je l'ai dit en anglais, je vais le répéter en français, mais pour nous, c'est important de célébrer des victoires. On a pris quelques journées pour célébrer notre trophée Gilles Courtois. Puis après ça, on a fermé les livres. Puis on voulait vraiment mettre l'accent sur la Coupe Memorial, puis se préparer de la bonne façon, de la même façon qu'on a fait depuis le début de la saison en séries éliminatoires. Puis il n'y a rien qui va changer de ce côté-là. Riley a connu une très, très bonne saison, surtout après la période des échanges. Je pense que de savoir qu'il avait totale confiance de ses entraîneurs, de son DG, de ses coéquipiers. À partir du moment que tu as une bonne personne qui travaille tellement fort, c'est une belle recette pour avoir du succès. Puis on est très, très fiers de ses performances.
Parfait. Je pense qu'il n'y a pas d'autres questions. So, on va aller à Zoom. We're going to go to the Zoom s'il y a des questions. Tu peux parler. You can speak now. I think your mic, as long as your mic is on, please feel free to share your question and just make sure you identify who you're directing it to. Y a-t-il quelqu'un, Raphaël, sur... Yeah, Carol Schramm, are you there? Carol? Worst case scenario, if you can hear us, just type your question into the chat and we can always just read it as well. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Anybody in the audience? Yes. Josh or first.
The question will be for Mark. Mark, how the community reacted to your first championship? It was an historic moment, and how did the guys felt during that period, and how the community rallied around the team?
Yeah, it was real special. You know, I think if you get to know anybody around Moose Jaw, you know how important this is for them, and to see the support. You know, not just when we won, but you know, really whether you're a coach or you're a player, they have your back all season long. It means a lot to them, and they just want to support you. And you know, we saw that in waves there through the playoffs, and certainly when we won. So I think that made it special. I know for the players, they were caught off guard with the people lining the street on numerous occasions. But again, it's not surprising if you get to know people around Moose Jaw. It's a special place. It's a small town, but they love their hockey and they love their Warriors.
Mark, another question for you. Your team has played a lot of overtime games. Do you feel like your team has learned through some of the adversity, and being battle tested will help you here as you kind of maybe play some tight games in the Memorial Cup?
Yeah, I think experience is good if you have it, and there's just big moments. I think we talk all the time about being ready, whether you play 6 minutes a night or 26 minutes a night. Your shift could be the most important one of the night, and that's certainly the case in overtime. So if you can go through those hard times and just making sure that your game's where it needs to be at any moment, I think that helps in a tournament like this, where really it's up to you to perform on demand here, and we'll certainly draw from those experiences for sure.
Sam at the back.
For Chris, you've had a little bit longer of a layoff than the other three teams. How do you feel like you guys have kind of taken advantage of that time, given this is a situation where you're preparing for three teams as opposed to just one?
Yeah, well, it's we were hoping every series was going to go 7 games after we were eliminated, and of course, history, all 4 sweeps. So I don't really think there's much of a rest advantage anymore. We were kind of hoping on it and banking on it, but we did give our guys a week off. They went home, they came back. We went Monday through to Friday with practices, gave another weekend off, and then we had all this week. So I don't think rest is really going to be an advantage for anybody. I think everybody's as rested as they could be, and I think every team here would probably say they're excited to start playing games again, because the worst thing is sitting and waiting and anticipating this moment.
So I think we have some questions in the chat. I'll just have our Raphael Doucette read them out loud.
Yep, the first one is from Carol Schramm. It is for Mark. How valuable was the rest time after the championship series following such a tough series against Saskatoon?
How good was the rest, or how important? Yeah, it was huge. I mean, you don't you go into every series just trying to win the next game, but if you can do it in 4, especially after the long drawn out series that we had against Saskatoon, I think that's huge. It took a lot out of us for sure. But again, if you had told me before the final started that we were going to do it in 4, I'd be shocked. But it certainly wasn't that easy. It was a hard fought series, but we're happy we got out in 4, and we'll take the rest as needed.
Question également pour Sylvain, ça vient de la presse canadienne. Sylvain, avez-vous profité un petit peu de votre conquête de la LHJMQ, ou est-ce que votre focus est tout de suite transporté du côté de la Coupe Memorial?
Oui, c'est comme j'ai indiqué tantôt, on a pris quelques journées pour célébrer. Je pense que c'est important de célébrer des victoires. On travaille d'arrache-pied pendant 68 matchs pour arriver à ce point-là. Donc, c'est important de célébrer les victoires. Mais c'est sûr qu'après 2 jours, on a fermé un petit peu les livres sur le trophée Jules Courteau, puis on s'est réorienté vers le challenge qui est la Coupe Memorial.
Bon. Last one for Dale. With the unprecedented amount of time to prepare for the actual opponents at the Memorial Cup, would you say you've spent more time pre-scouting on how to defend against your opponents, or more time looking at how to exploit your opponent's defense? Question from Peter South.
I think every coach is doing both. It's how your team's playing, and definitely you watch what the other team's doing, but it always comes down to how your team's playing. So we really concentrate on that, what we're doing, more importantly, but you still have to know what the other team's doing and what systems they're playing.
All right. So want to start off by thanking the coaches for their time and taking the questions. We'll just have them now come down for a photo opportunity by the trophy, and that'll be a wrap on our Meet the Coaches press conference. Thank you. Unless you want to jump down. You can just get maybe the guys, the way you guys were. Two on each side. Well, it doesn't matter. I guess if you go sit down on the other side with Dale, Mark on this side, Chris.